Alright guys, now I'm on my third video since returning at around the time that Marvel's Avengers has been released, and now we're going to play as the Femme Fatales team. Now the Femme Fatales team, here we've got the Invisible Woman, who we've already unlocked the uniform of, so we're probably not going to be her for very long, I would think. But we also have Storm, Jean Grey, and Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel. Not to be confused with Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. So basically we're going to attack the Prison 42, get our people out of there. I'm sorry. No, I've got this wrong. I'm wrong. No. This is the big battle. So we've used Cloak to get into New Jersey, a place where there's supposed to be people who are trapped. And it turns out that all it is a trap. And so now, that we're more or less at the midpoint of the game here. So we're going to have a big fight here against Iron Man's forces.
I think I'd rather take my chances. Cap, please.
And you know, we've got.
Fight this. But that was before Stanford. The public doesn't want secret identities anymore.
And it starts off nice, you know. It's like one.
Just give me a chance to tell you our.
And then Cap does something that's sort of interesting. On a tactical level, it makes sense, but on a Cap level, it might be missing something. He basically pulls the buzzer trick on Tony here. Of course, they did just shoot Cloak.
Liberty Squad, clear out that path so our people can escape. I've sent Colossus to assist you. Meet up with him while I draw Shield's attention.
Alright. So our job is to go meet up with Colossus. And now we're switching teams.
I can use a medic.
I'm on it.
So meet our new team. Carol Danvers is still on the field, but now we've got Captain America, who is not doing so hot. Wolverine, who's been knocked out. Which, again, considering how durable Wolverine is, that's pretty impressive.
Sorry, this is one government job I'm not taking.
Okay, so we've got... So who's our other character? Oh! Wait. Okay, so I think this is the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. team. Our other character is the nanite-infused Nick Fury, who I'm not a big fan of. I wish there was just a regular Nick Fury character you could use in this game. That's one thing I like better about the first Ultimate Alliance game compared to this one, is that you can play as Ultimate Nick Fury, who looks like MCU Nick Fury for good reason. Here, even if you unlock, well, first off, once you get Nick Fury, there is no unlock extra skin for him. He's just going to look like this cyborg abomination the whole time. And I'm not particularly a big fan of that, but whatever. Meanwhile, so we're trying to unlock Miss Marvel's stuff. Well, it looks to me like I've already got it. This. No, I take it back. This isn't her armor costume. This is, I think that's her actual warbird. God, it's so hard to see from this far away, and I don't really remember what I was. Oh, and now she's dead. And she's covered in flames, so it's not easy to sort of judge
Need some backup here.
who or what she was. We're kind of running out of guys here. Alright, now it's all up to Cyborg Nick Fury. Because everybody else is dead. Or at least down. Alright. I got a health thing, so I need to get somebody back. In this case, Wolverine, because he self heals. I think that we've already. It's hard to tell on her outfit. But we're going to keep moving forward with Wolverine. Now, when we left off in the last episode, we were talking a little bit about DLC characters that might show up in Marvel's Avengers, and we talked about the characters that are definitely going to show up, which is Spider-Man and the two Hawkeyes. I think there's, and I talked briefly about the possibility that it wouldn't be hard to get certain other characters into the game. Alright, now we're going to be fighting Bullseye. And apparently we screwed this up because I'm pretty sure I reset this. I believe that you get something for having Daredevil defeat Bullseye in this fight. But I'm just getting trashed. Of course, as Wolverine, as long as I run around for a little while, I can get some amount of health back. Alright, and then Cap and I are just going to go and just hit people. It's not really doing me much good as far as getting getting more health. Although Bullseye's going down pretty easy at this point. Well, managed to take out Wolverine before he left. But not so much the punch to the face from Carol Danvers.
But S.H.I.E.L.D. is watching our every move from the helicarrier. Dr. Foster has identified non-toxic chemical tanks that can be destroyed. This will create a smokescreen to block S.H.I.E.L.D.'s view. Once that is done, I will keep this path open for our escape.
Yeah, I've already. That's her alternate costume, so we've already unlocked it at this point.
If it comes to a tactical retreat, the path must be
So you talked about the possibility last time of characters that they could add just by kind of cloning. So you talked about the potential of adding the Thing or Reed Richards to the Avengers game, even though they would be out of theme. You know, they're not Avengers, but they are Marvel superheroes who theoretically would exist in the same universe as those guys. Okay, well, we've got the Gusher here, which I know that you can seal with Iceman. apparently I'm trying to seal it with Nick Fury because I'm too silly to remember how to do this. I know. We'll throw a barrel at it. What do you know? That worked. Good old Nick Fury.
Need a body bag over here.
Anyway,
You're near one of those smoke screen tanks, Liberty. The turbulence should trigger the reaction we need.
so looking at other characters you could kind of clone.
Looks like the helicarrier is taking pot shots at us when they think they got an opening.
You know, since Captain America is one of your team members, any character who kind of uses sort of athletic jumping moves that he does, I mean, obviously they don't need you wouldn't need a shield. You could replicate that in some way or another. So I'm thinking that Black Panther would be a particularly easy character to kind of bring into the game. You know, kind of based off of Cap's
You picked a fight.
movesets, obviously not having the shield-based combos, having, you know, more claw-based stuff. Also, you know, having his armor do the kind of neat sonic things that it does. So yeah, I mean, Black Panther would make sense as sort of an easy character to add into the game. James Rhodes would be a very easy character to add.
As a fully registered and licensed hero.
I don't think that, say fully, jeez. I'm not a big Wonder Man fan, sorry, as he has just shown up here. So James Rhodes would be sort of an easy, I mean, that would be like the easiest thing you could do, would be to create War Machine. And one way you could sort of figure out if they were going to create War Machine or not is whether they gave Tony any outfits that specifically look like War Machine armors. And if they didn't, then there's more of a chance that War Machine would show up in the game. But again, it'd be a very easy thing for them to do because the mechanics of how Iron Man works are already established, and you could just make War Machine different in, you know, adding his minigun, you know, giving him slightly different stuff.
Please, no autograph.
So if you wanted to get silly, well, not silly, but if you wanted to kind of bend things a little bit, because you've got Black Widow and her gunplay in there, there are a couple of options that you've got for those kind of characters. I mean, you could reskin Black Widow as the Punisher. You know, have a kind of a more guns-based character.
I make this look good.
And there might be some sharing. I don't know how much of Hawkeye's moveset is going to... Although I can't imagine too much of it would be borrowed from Black Widow, because Hawkeye's not normally a short-range fighter. I mean, again, I think that you have to give him some sort of sword move. Just like I have to imagine that there's got to be some Cap move where he's able to use Mjolnir coming down the pike, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a thing. But anyways, from the guns aspect, you could bring in the Punisher. Just Black Widow's hand-to-hand skills. Daredevil's not necessarily an impossibility. But, and again, I'm trying to, looking for the possible based on the things that already exist, you know, in the game based on the existing characters. I'm not suggesting that Daredevil would be #1 on the list of characters you'd want to add to the game. I think Black Panther currently is because of the unfortunate and untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman. And when we get to Wakanda in this game, I'll take some time and gather my thoughts about this. But that could be a little ways away. Let's see here. There was I had another thought before I came to Daredevil when we were talking about Black Widow. Oh! Adding another Black Widow. Just like War Machine would be an easy addition for the purposes that you don't have to do anything new. I think you could add Yelena Belova, who's only going to show up in the Black Widow movie. I think Florence Pugh is cast as her. You know, and you could do that. Again, not necessarily a choice people would be beating the door down for. Then there's story. Characters who I'd like to see for story reasons. So in the story, Nick Fury is gone. Is he dead? The game hints at the fact that he's probably not there, but if anyone who's familiar with the history of Nick Fury and any of his guises knows that Nick Fury is a hard man to kill.
That's why I'm fighting this.
And while I don't necessarily think he needs to be a character that you can play in the game, although, again, that's another Black Widow reskin possibility. I do think that it would be nice if they eventually had missions or a mission tree or something that they did later on where you verify that Fury is indeed out there somewhere. Other characters that they might add for story reasons because we know they exist in that universe. Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel.
I'm not just another pretty face.
Difficult to say what they would do with her to get her in the game. She's certainly around, but when the events of A-Day occur, she's in space, and nobody thinks to call her when they at any point in time during the story. For her power set, I'm thinking that this would be where you would try to clone Thor. You could try to base her powers kind of off of Thor, not lightning and all that stuff, just the way he moves around and does stuff. I guess which means I'm missing yet another obvious clone that they could add to Marvel's Avengers, and that would be any of the Thor substitutes. Obviously, the favorite Thor substitute. Well, okay, I say that. Before Jane Foster became Thor, the obvious Thor substitute was Beta Ray Bill. And I would be more than willing to see everybody's favorite Corbinite included. He'd be kind of he'd be kind of weird, kind of freaky, but again, you don't have to play too much. The developers don't have to play too much with Thor's power set, they just have to play with the character model.
You ain't even in my league.
I'm sure there's something that Beta Ray Bill would do that would be different than the way Thor plays. But the mechanics are all there. So it's not a hard thing to do. Beta Ray Bill has been an alternative skin for Thor in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1. So that kind of thing has even sort of been done before. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 included, as extra skins, you know, kind of several characters who were sort of different than the character you were actually playing as. It kind of helped with some of the characters that didn't have a ton of iconic costumes. But it can also be confusing if you didn't really understand what was going on. Jeez, I've left Carol dead this entire episode? I am a monster. Alright, well we're supposed to go rescue Cloak and Dagger, so that's what we're going to do here. We get through these brute enemies. Now, Nick Fury, nanite-infused Nick Fury here, can summon different character powers to do things. I want to say the character power I'm been using on that little sort of area of effect attack is Havoc. But, you know, I could be wrong about that. Alright, well, apparently we're not going to rescue Carol right this second.
Last warning shot, Dagger. Step away from Cloak. Molten Man's next volley will put you in the burn unit.
Oh, this kind of
People are
stuff.
out of your minds. I'm not leaving. You are.
So, here we're facing She-Hulk and Molten Man in a boss fight.
Generous offer and punches us in the face for extending it. How far will you follow that zealot?
Molten Man, who is Liz Allen's brother, I believe, and was referenced, although not directly used. Yeah, I'm changing the team. Because I wanted to get Hulk against She-Hulk. I mean, clearly, everybody wanted to see that. So, there it is. And there's Carol. Okay, so now we're back in business. But I think that... So, yeah, sorry, I got distracted by the Thor core. But yeah, dealing with Thor's powers, I think that it would be very easy to put in to put in Beta Ray Bill, to put in Jane Foster Thor. Wouldn't be that hard. You know, story explanations for either of those might take some work. Another, you know, Eric Masterson maybe, even though I'm not a big fan of that guy. Again, just the same sort of theme. Things you could do, not necessarily things you would want to do. But I think one character that they're almost certain to add to the game is Captain Marvel, because again they've referenced her in the game, but she's nowhere around, and she's Kamala Khan's biggest hero. Okay, as killing off our entire team again. So now it's just Fury and Hulk against She-Hulk and Molten Man, although Dagger is going to keep providing assistance for us, which I appreciate. And now I'm just going to level everybody with Hulk. Fortunately, this strategy did not seem very hard to hit Molten Man for whatever reason.
You're smart. You'll stay down.
Alright, but now with She-Hulk down, we can focus our attention on Molten Man, and although we're going to lose Nick Fury, well, let's just hope that Molten Man doesn't turn his attention, doesn't wipe us out first. Although Hulk is keeping him juggled, basically, with this attack. That's why I sort of prefer to abuse it when I've got the Hulk. Other characters you could potentially add to the game just based on sort of, again, what you're given, not necessarily. Because of all the characters just so far, I think Captain Marvel is the one that's would be the hardest to adapt, although I think they would do something sort of Thor, Iron Man fusion to get her to work. But Hulk has got his alternates. There are a bunch of fun Hulk costumes in the game. But, you could put in Red Hulk. We talked about the possibility of using the Hulk as sort of the basis for getting the Thing, if you wanted to do that, or